Cynthia had married into wealth, settling comfortably with her husband, Richard. But trouble emerged when Sam, Richard's younger brother, fell in love with Sarah, Cynthia's younger sister. Sam was the black sheep of the family, thought to be reckless and tainted by accusations of theft. Though Sarah loved him, Cynthia hated the idea of their relationship, convinced that Sam was a disgrace and would ruin her sister's life. Things escalated when Sarah became pregnant. Cynthia was furious and insisted that the pregnancy be terminated. "You can't throw your life away over a man like Sam," she told Sarah. But Sarah stood her ground, and with Sam's support, they married against all odds, further enraging Cynthia. Soon after, an investigation revealed that Sam had been wrongfully accused of theft all along. With Richard's backing, Sam established his own business, quickly rising to success. As time passed, the tensions between the sisters seemed to ease, and it felt like the worst was behind them. But happiness would be short-lived. When Sarah gave birth to a healthy baby boy, the family saw it as a sign of reconciliation. Cynthia, accompanied by Richard, visited Sam and Sarah to celebrate. For a brief moment, it felt like the past had been buried. Everyone laughed and embraced, and Cynthia even offered to carry the newborn while they walked together outside. But tragedy struck. As Cynthia stepped onto an uneven stone, she stumbled. The baby slipped from her arms, landing hard on the ground. A collective gasp filled the air. Sarah rushed forward, screaming. They tried everything, rushed the child to the hospital, but the baby did not survive. The joy of the day turned into a nightmare. Cynthia was inconsolable, but Sarah's grief quickly transformed into fury. "You wanted this baby dead from the beginning," she screamed. "You killed him on purpose." Sam stood beside his wife, his fists clenched, and accused Cynthia, "You never wanted us to have a life together." Richard tried to reason with Sam, but the tension between the brothers boiled over. "She's my wife," Richard said, stepping between Sam and Cynthia. "It was an accident." But Sam wasn't convinced. "You always protect her," he snapped, "even when she destroys everything." The rift between the two couples grew wider with each passing day. Sam and Sarah cut off communication with Richard and Cynthia. Family gatherings became impossible, and mutual friends were forced to pick sides. Sarah's grief consumed her, and she fell into depression. She believed Cynthia had harbored hatred toward her child since his conception, and couldn't let go of the thought that Cynthia had dropped the baby intentionally. Sam, devastated by his wife's sorrow, became cold and distant, channeling his emotions into his business. His newfound wealth did little to heal the emotional wounds. Richard, too, was under immense strain as he tried to bridge the gap between his brother and wife, but every attempt seemed to worsen things. Cynthia, overwhelmed by guilt and Sarah's hatred, began questioning herself. Did she subconsciously want the baby gone? As time passed, Sam's resentment grew. One night, in a fit of rage, he vowed never to forgive Cynthia or Richard. "Your wife took everything from me," he told Richard bitterly. "If you weren't my brother, I'd have nothing to do with either of you." Then, everything changed when Sarah discovered she was pregnant again. This time, she didn't want to keep the baby. "I can't go through that pain again," she told Sam, her eyes filled with sorrow. But Sam refused. "This child is our second chance," he insisted. "We won't let anyone take this away from us." Meanwhile, Cynthia heard the news through the grapevine. Part of her wanted to reach out to make amends, but fear and guilt held her back. She knew Sarah would never forgive her, but something in her heart told her this new life could heal the wounds between them, if only she found a way to earn Sarah's trust again. As Sarah's due date approached, tragedy struck once more. Sam was involved in a terrible accident that left him paralyzed from the waist down. Richard rushed to his brother's side, taking over Sam's business temporarily. This unexpected twist threw the entire family into turmoil. Now, with Sam bedridden and unable to provide for Sarah, she was forced to rely on Richard and Cynthia for support, an arrangement she loathed but couldn't refuse. The baby's birth brought mixed emotions. It was a bittersweet moment, joy for the new child, but sorrow over Sam's condition. Sarah was cold toward Cynthia, barely acknowledging her presence, but Cynthia remained patient, determined to make things right. Richard suggested a nurse to care for Sam, but Cynthia quietly volunteered instead. She began visiting their home daily, tending to Sam while he recovered. Though Sarah initially resented her sister's presence, Cynthia's unwavering support slowly began to soften her heart. For the first time in years, the sisters had long conversations, sometimes in anger, sometimes in tears, but always with honesty. One evening, Sam, now able to sit in a wheelchair, asked Cynthia the question that had haunted him since the baby's death. "Did you really want him dead?" Tears welled up in Cynthia's eyes. "I never wanted to hurt your family," she whispered. "I was angry, I was wrong, but I swear, I would never hurt that child." Sam saw the sincerity in her eyes and gave a weary nod. It wasn't full forgiveness, but it was a step forward. Over time, the fractures in the family began to heal. Richard worked tirelessly to help Sam regain control of his business, while Cynthia and Sarah repaired their relationship piece by piece. The new baby, a girl named Chidima, became a symbol of hope, a chance to rebuild what had been broken. One day, as the entire family gathered for Chidima's naming ceremony, Sarah approached Cynthia and embraced her. "I still have scars," Sarah admitted, "but I see now that you've carried your own pain too." Cynthia held her sister tightly, both women shedding tears for the losses they had endured and the love they had rediscovered. Sam, watching from his wheelchair, gave Richard a nod of gratitude. "We've been through hell," he said quietly, "but I'm glad you stood by me." As the family celebrated, the shadows of the past slowly began to fade. They knew they would never forget what had happened, but they also knew they didn't have to let it define them. Together, they could build something new, something stronger. Though the scars of the past would never fully heal, the family found a way forward. Sam's paralysis became a part of their new reality, but it did not define his life. With Richard's help, he expanded his business, proving that his strength lay not just in his body but in his mind. Cynthia and Sarah's relationship, once broken beyond repair, blossomed again. The sisters discovered a bond deeper than before, forged through pain and redemption. And though they would always carry the memory of the child they lost, Chidima's laughter reminded them that life, despite its hardships, always offers new beginnings. In the end, the family realized that forgiveness is not about forgetting the past, but about learning to live with it and finding joy despite the sorrow. Together, they faced the future, knowing that no matter what came next, they would face it as one.